Welcome, Climate Viewers. This is Jim Lee from ClimateViewer News at ClimateViewer.com with facts minus fear porn. And I really got some pretty funny responses to my last video. Flat Earth is full retard. And I just wanted to address some of them because it's kind of funny to me, that people really do believe that words are violence and that, they criticizing me for saying attack ideas, not people, but then going on to say flat earth is full retard. So let's break down some of the nomenclature and respond to some of this stuff because it's kind of funny to me and you're not going to stop me from laughing about it because it is funny. All right, over here, here's the video. Flat Earth is full retard, never go full retard. And I'll admit this isn't one of my greatest pieces of research ever put together in a video. It was supposed to be lighthearted and just kind of, put my stance out there. But regardless, some people took it the wrong way. And, one person in particular, where's the comment? My goodness, there's so many comments. Let me scroll for a second. Maybe it hasn't loaded yet. Alright, where's it at? I had it up here a minute ago, and now all of a sudden it won't light up for me. Oh my goodness. This is no good. So much for attacking ideas rather than people. Right there. Southern California deplorable Henry Lindman. He went on to say that he was going to unsubscribe. Shame. Especially, you call yourself a deplorable, but suddenly saying that something's retarded, that's not a deplorable sort of thing. Anyway, where was the other comment? I really want to find this one comment because it's right on the money. That's not it. It says it's right here. Do you see anything lighting up? I certainly don't. My goodness. Let's try this instead. I prefer not. No. Okay. So anyway, let's just go with what they said. They basically said, I'm offended. You called me a retard. What happened to attack ideas, not people? Okay. That's how the story goes. So I says to this person, I don't know if you guys remember this. Maybe you remember it from when you were a child. It's pretty simple. It goes like this. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. There's so much power in that statement that has been forgotten today. Today, we live in a world where words can actually justify violence. And I'll give you an example. You look at Ben Shapiro, popular right-wing conservative speaker, goes out to UC Berkeley. They literally lit the school on fire to keep him from talking. Kevin Hart is a comedian. I mean, if you're not supposed to be, if there's any place you can be offensive, it should be in comedy. But Kevin Hart is now being made to apologize for making jokes about his son possibly being gay, years ago, which is ridiculous. I wish Kevin Hart would have stuck by his guns and said, big number one to all you guys, this is a joke. It's comedy. It's supposed to be offensive. What the hell is wrong with you people? I could use the same meme for vaccination, folks, but that's my favorite meme. recreated it just for this video. But seriously, flat Earth is full retard. And I'm going to stand by that. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. And we're going to break down the words. Because, when I say attack ideas, not people, I'm attacking the idea that the Earth is flat. And what do I mean by retard? Well, let's look at some friggin' definitions. Why don't we? Maybe that'll help some of the people who are really stuck on this sort of thing. So, before I do that, I want to just mention briefly that this is all about slave speak or real mind control. Because the real way to control a person's mind is not through microwave beams or remote neural blah, 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 blah. Yes, that technology is being worked on and all of that. But the way people's minds have been controlled for centuries and today is through the use of words. So I'm going to repeat this because, it was in the video, but people maybe didn't get it. Ideas are more powerful than guns. We would not let our enemies have guns. Why would we let them have ideas? Joseph Stalin. Language creates spooks that get into our heads and hypnotize us. It is hard to fight an enemy who has outposts in your head. The most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Language. The first thing I want you to realize is the primary tool or weapon of terrorcrats used to subjugate, control, and dominate their victims is words. By terrorcrat, I mean coercive political agent or terrorist bureaucrat. A terrorcrat is always an individual human being. So, there are terrorcrats on YouTube, and they make a lot of money using fear porn. And this fear porn is a way of making a person scared enough that they feel their life is in danger or their whole paradigm is shifting, and that you have some kind of intimate knowledge that they do not. And it's no different than, the Roman Catholic Church back when the book was written in Latin, and the only way you could get, find your way to the Lord was through a translator, and you went to church and they translated it for you. And if you were excommunicated from the church, that meant your soul was going to hell for eternity. So you better pay your money. And life has always been that way, where people use words and use language to control people. So that's what the anatomy of slave speak is about how people are controlled by words and how people react to them. Psychological operations, somebody said in chat. There are many other words for psychological operations. If you go to ClimateViewer.com/propaganda, what you're going to see is propaganda, fake news, and activism. And when I say fear porn, I think it was best said by Yoda. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. End FUD with ClimateViewer.com. What's FUD? FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt is a tactic used in sales, marketing, public relations, politics, propaganda, and freaking YouTube. Somebody said neurolinguistic. We're going to get to that too, because this is important. FUD is generally a strategic attempt to influence perception by disseminating negative and dubious or false information. An individual firm, for example, might use FUD to invite unfavorable opinions and speculation about a competitor's product. to increase the general estimation of switching costs among current customers or to maintain leverage over a current business partner who could potentially become a rival. The term originated to describe disinformation tactics in the computer hardware industry, but have since been used more broadly. FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, is a manifestation of the appeal to fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear demoralizes you. You are no threat to anyone if you are demoralized. MK Ultra was about FUD. Mind control requires FUD. FUD is evil. So, therefore, anybody pushing fear, uncertainty, and doubt on YouTube, on their web pages, who pretends to be an activist, they are part of the problem. I don't like that shit. The opposite of FUD is knowledge, love, and laughter. And we're going to have a couple laughs at some people's expense. Comment. Are you serious, dude? You work for the system. Religion is the oldest and most effective weapon ever used to control humanity. Government comes from Rome. I am afraid of nothing. I am the light. I work for the system? This guy right here. I work for the system. I work for nobody. I work for me. I own my own business. It's called RedNet Solution. Motherfuckers, I'll show you. RedNet.Solutions. Smart ass. I don't work for the system. I work for me. Sumter's Digital Workshop, RedNet Solutions. What do? This is a Second Mill Pine, or Second Mill Pine. No, Second Mills were my. Anyway, White's Mill Pine, right up the street from my house. I took this photo, and as you can see, I do things like mobile websites, graphics design, security, and my wife does photography. So, do I work for the system? Hell nah. I work for me. Don't believe me? Here's a local juice bar I did a website for. Oh, what's that? That's ClimateViewer News and ClimateViewer 3D examples of my work. Yeah, but I love Julianne. I know the guy has no clue, but maybe other people don't either. But I work for me. I also am a hacker, anon lover, and I've been anon longer than you've probably been alive. I've been on a computer since I was 12 years old. I was hacking computers when I was 16 years old. So don't tell me about who I work for or what part of what system I am, because I understand the system just as well as, if not better than, most people. Okay? Write that down. Put it in your little web blog. But regardless, where's my cursor? So I don't work for the system. I got the world's only NSA map, and I'm a self-made man. I do my own thing. I work for myself. I do things by myself. I teach myself. I did not go to college. I don't need to go to college. You know why? Because I've always been able to find work since I was 16 years old. I have worked in the video game design industry, the print industry. I've worked for newspapers. I've worked for news companies, Sumter Daily News. I shot the news there. So kiss my ass right in the brown spot. Back to the story about propaganda. So, on Control and Lying, Technique 88 by L. Ron Hubbard, Scientologist, the only way you can control people is to lie to them. Can I hire you to hack someone? No, I only do white hat hacking. As of today, it's similar to the television show To Catch a Thief. They would go to people's houses and they would, try to break in the house and say, here's how we broke in. Let us fix it for you. This is called penetration testing. I go to local businesses. I walk in the front door. I say to them, hey, have you secured your network? Do you believe that your employee files are secure? They always say yes. I make them a bet. I said, I will bet you $100 that I can break into your system from outside in the parking lot. But if you take the bet and I get in, you hire me to fix your network. And I always get in. So, there are no secure networks. Let's just put it that way. And even when I secure them, they're only probably secure for 6 months. Unless you call me back, you ain't. Everybody's always building a better mousetrap. Let's just put it that way. These computers, the way they're designed, they will never, ever, ever be secure. And anything that you do not want people to know should not be on a computer. My computer that I am on right now, that I've had for 7 years, has never had any malware on it whatsoever, and I still treat it as though it's an open door and that anything on it, I expect that somebody will be able to see it. Therefore, if I have private photos of my children or things like that, they are on external flash drives, hard drives, which are never connected to my computer unless they are in use at that moment. I suggest you do the same. Back to the story. So technique 88, lying, false left-right paradigm, how television works, neuro-linguistic programming. Oh, that's where it really gets into, how words affect people's brains. Perception management and destroying reputation. Glass china and reputation are easily cracked and never well mended. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about it that way, you'll do things differently. Okay? But this is the perception management wheel. And in the Department of Defense, it's called psychological operations, psychological warfare, psy-war, narrative networks, and mind war. These are the terminology they use for controlling people with words. In the corporate world, we would refer to perception management, neuro-linguistic programming, and the good old public relations. But the basic process goes like this. We'll blow that up big for you guys at home. Do a perception audit. Do the people think the world is round? Communication objectives. Let's convince them it is flat. Target audience. Idiots. People easily influenced and people addicted to fear porn. Positioning and key messages. Let's use pseudoscience and people who barely understand science to convince people that the Earth is flat. Jim, have you talked with Dane Wigington? I have talked to Dane Wigington on the phone 5 times, and I've debated him once. Core program elements. Timeline, budget and control, evaluation, situational analysis. Hey, let's do another perception audit. Do people believe the world's flat now? How many people did we affect during this perception management process? This is how psychological operations are done. And I personally believe that flat Earth is put out there by, someone like, I'd say the CIA, KGB, and the purpose is to discredit truthers, activists. If you can say everything you ever believed was true about vaccines and you believe flat Earth, nobody's going to take you seriously. Period. So that's what perception management is about controlling people's minds. How did the debate go? I totally destroyed his ass in about 20 minutes and he left. And then Russ Tanner came in on the debate because he was recording the entire thing. And this was recorded by John Massaria. And what was supposed to happen was Dane Wigington was supposed to debate Mick West. But Mick West called in sick. Last minute, John Massaria calls me. He says, hey, can you fill in for Mick? I say yes. I get there. Dane starts throwing platitudes at me. Hey, Jim, same team. We're all on the same side here. I'm like, sure, okay, fine. Should I play devil's advocate or not? So I decided not to, and I just decided to have a friendly debate. But the question that took Dane out of the running was, Dane, could you keep saying geoengineering, and I think that the audience might benefit from you giving them a definition of geoengineering. And he could not. This was 2013. So after that happened, it really didn't go so well. From that point on, he was on the defensive. I kept poking holes in things that he was saying because he just wasn't making a lot of sense. And eventually said, I'm done here. And then Russ Tanner came on. He was recording the whole thing. He was dead silent, and he said, can I give it a shot? I said, come on down, big boy. Who are you? I didn't even know who he was. And then he told me he could smell chemtrails. And I was like, if you can smell something that's 5 miles away, then I got a good job for you as a cadaver dog. But regardless, when the whole thing was over with, John, called me and he was like, look, man, Dane's a friend. I can't put this video out. You really made him look like a fool. I mean, you really beat him up. And he deleted the videotape. And if you find John Massari, Unibrow Studio Vision, he's on YouTube, he's on Facebook. You can ask him, he'll tell you the truth. And that happened. So I wish he would have put the tape out. We wouldn't be up to here in bullshit right now. But regardless, that did happen. And Dane will never, ever debate me again. Because I will eat his ass for lunch. Back to the story. So, the reason all this matters, the dumbing down of America, attention deficit and activism don't mix. Technology causes ADHD. The ethics and etiquettes of online activism, self-promotion at the expense of the movement, Dane Wigington. But, we must do better. Those who love peace must learn to organize as effectively as those who love war. Unfortunately, that's highly unlikely because most of the people who are activists, especially on YouTube, they don't ever want to come together. I've tried many times just to get people in the chemtrail community to come together and give just like some kind of joint statement or, what we agree on, what we disagree on, and what we're going to do about what we agree on. That was the three things. We were debating chemtrails versus geoengineering, whether it's a secret program, how it works, that sort of thing. And I had been debating Ken Caldera and David Keith, geoengineers, for 3 years before ever talking about chemtrails or even hearing about chemtrails. So I came in this from after debating all of the academics on Ken Caldera's geoengineering forum and doing a lot of research on geoengineering, 2010 to 2013, and then decided, well, looks like this might have something to do with geoengineering. I might, want to get involved in this discussion. But to be quite honest with you, most people don't want to hear the truth about chemtrails. So it's my least favorite topic. Why? Because it's just like talking to flat earthers and trying to convince them that the world is round. Carl Sagan said it best. It's just one of the saddest lessons of history is this: if we've been bamboozled long enough, we tend to reject any evidence of the bamboozle. We're no longer interested in finding out the truth. The bamboozle has captured us. It is simply too painful to acknowledge, even to ourselves, that we've been taken. Once you give a charlatan power over you, you almost never get it back. So that's the truth right there in a nutshell. Is that a lot of people are like, I don't want to hear this. I do remember that wine. Yes, there have been many times where I've said, you know what, I don't ever want to talk about chemtrails again. Twice I've deleted every single article I wrote about chemtrails just because people do not want to know the truth about this. It's far too complicated. I got a Fox meteorologist, Paul Delgado, and we agree on about 80% of shit. And I try to tell him, you cannot understand how this could be used as a weapon of war. I'm showing you a military slide where the U.S. Air Force in 1997 said they can create, suppress Cirrus/contrails. And you're telling me that there's no way to get rid of them. The only way to get rid of them is like 9/11. No flights at all. I call bullshit. 1958, Van Strassen, doctor, says U.S. Navy creates, destroys clouds using carbon black dust. 1958. 3 separate newspaper articles. They're on weathermodificationhistory.com. But regardless, people don't want to know the truth about chemtrails. They don't want to understand anything about jet fuel, how it burns. We're getting way far afield, but I'm just answering questions from chat. Appreciate the guys in chat. I'm still watching that while I'm doing all this. Anyway. So, back to, what does attack ideas, not people, really mean? Well, let's first talk about what I said. Flat Earth is full retard. What do I mean by retard? Well, let's go to the definition. Retard. To delay or impede the development or progress of, to slow up, especially by preventing or hindering the advance or accomplishment. So, by definition, talking about flat Earth is to delay or impede the development or progress of individuals based on regressive thought. Because the spherical model of the Earth, really dates back to about 600 BC with Pythagoras, maybe, but it was for sure, 240 BC. Eratosthenes was, according to all the scientists, the first person to really figure it out, how big and round the Earth is. But that was 240 BC. For the real idiots in the audience watching, that's before Christ. That's minus 240. I'm sorry. Archimedes also, yes. Very, very true. But we're not going to get too deep into that. So you got the spherical Earth, and then you've got the flat Earth, and all of that's fun. But, when I say retard, I mean it's regressive. We're going backwards, and it's stupid. That's what I mean by retard. It's full retard. Flat Earth is full retard. Not that you, the individual, are a retard, but in some cases, you may be. Regardless, what do I mean by attack ideas, not people? Well, let's look at the definition. Take aggressive action against a place or enemy forces with weapons or armed force, typically in a battle or war. An aggressive and violent action against a person or place. So this is the way I use the word attack. When I say attack, I mean this. But in all fairness, let's look at the politically correct Merriam-Webster's definition. The act of attacking with physical force or unfriendly words. Now let me be very freaking clear, because this is ridiculous. There is no such thing as hate speech. There is only free speech. The idea behind hate speech is the idea that there is certain language that is so foul and so offensive that you are justified in doing violence against the individual who utters such words. And that is really fucking this world up. That is why people burn down UC Berkeley. That is why Kevin Hart isn't going to be hosting the Oscars that nobody's going to be watching anyway. That is why we're going into 1984. Slave speak equal news speak equal political correctness equal hate speech. There is only free speech. So if I call you a retard, you are a freaking retard. And you think that you have been attacked. Then, by definition, you should be able to defend yourself. And what do most people consider defending themselves from an attack? These right here. Now, I've been studying martial arts most of my life. I know pressure points. I know ways of taking down men 3 times my size. I worked in a prison, Corrections Corporation of America, Florence County Correctional Center in Florence, Arizona. The inmates in there were typically 300 to 500 pound Hawaiians. There were 560 of them. On 7 separate occasions, I had people try to stab me. Luckily, and because of the grace of God and my ninja skills, I never got cut, I never got stabbed, and I literally held a man down for 7 minutes, which was the longest 7 minutes of my life, stabbing him under the chin, while trying to hit my man down button as fast as I could. I kept missing it because I'm trying to bend a 400-pound Hawaiian over my knee. But regardless, that's an attack. When a 400-pound Hawaiian comes at you with an elbow the size of your head, that's an attack. Me calling you a retard, not an attack. Not something that justifies violence. Hate speech. Also, stupid people. Lots of stupid people say things. That reverend that called Jews termites. That's hate speech. It's deplorable. It's disgusting. The guy's a fucking idiot. But do we believe in free speech or not? I don't believe in anti-Semitism. I don't believe in, hating black people. I don't believe in racism. But I believe in people's right to say whatever they want, whenever they want. And that does not justify violence. That's what I mean by attack ideas, not people. You can say whatever you like to me, because I'm a grown-ass man, and I've certainly heard it. You've never heard language like said in the segregation unit at Florence County Correctional Center. So I've heard it all, and it does not make sense to me. Like every police officer, every corrections officer is trained to understand this. People are going to say things to you, and that does not give you the right to put your hands on them. Okay? I love Aikido. I did Kimishun Ryu and Kung Fu. But Aikido is my thing because I only weigh 160 pounds. When I was working at the prison, I weighed 190 pounds. That's the most I ever weighed in my entire life. No shit. You guys want to see Fat Jim? Let's do this real quick. This will be funny. GoFundMe.com/fixmythyroid. Damn it. Just 1 second. I'll show you guys a picture. That thing. All right, so this is the picture. You guys all know. Where's the story? Read more. All right, so they were going to cut my thyroid out. Yada yada yada. Scrolling down. That was me at 190 pounds at Florence County Correction Center. Not making this up. See, that's my Corrections Corporation of America private prison badge. And there's some of my artwork hanging on the wall right there that I drew when I was 9 years old. and charcoal. But regardless, that's Jim Lee, 190 pounds, 2001. Regardless, not making any of this shit up. So the point being, when I say attack ideas, not people, I mean attack the ideas that people have, but don't put your hands on them. Don't like physically threaten someone's life. That's what I mean. And I do not consider language to be an attack. Period. At all, ever will, never will. You can't convince me of it. My hometown is 60% black people. I've grown up loving, black music. NWA was one of my favorites. I worked at a car stereo shop and I did sound pressure level tests. I always listen to rap music. DJ Magic Mike, stuff like that. But the interesting thing, Kanye West really hit on it recently. One of my favorite rappers, Immortal Technique. He said, the annihilation of mental colonization. And I tweeted to Kanye West. I said, Kanye, I love your music. I always have. But with the kind of platform you have, I wish you could be an activist. I wish that you could take a cue from Immortal Technique and say something that means a damn thing. Immortal Technique retweeted that. Happiest day ever. Regardless, a couple years later, Kanye West makes this misstatement of the year. We're stuck on a mental plantation. And I almost fell out of my damn seat. And he's right. And I talk to a lot of black people in my hometown. I have a lot of black friends. And I say to them, I have this speech I give to them. And I say to them, if I look at you and I say the N-word in this, in that, and that means that you cannot control yourself and that you want to hit me, then I control you. Think about that. And that is what the mental plantation is. It is that language can control the actions of other people because they are weak-minded, because they don't think deeply. So that's why they want to have things like hate speech and all of these rules for how we speak, because people can't control themselves. And we really, I know, us living in a world where we're all Spock is like years away, maybe hundreds of years away. But if people think logically, my mom always said it best. Consider the source. Just consider the source. It's very simple words. Consider the source. What is that person, how do they mean anything to me? I mean, if this isn't your boss who's like literally, your check's on the line, your life is on the line, saying something to you that you find offensive, if it's a stranger, what does it matter to you what somebody calls you? Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's what people need to get from this story. Attack ideas, not people. It is okay to use whatever language you like to fight any idea you like. But it is not okay to physically harm others or threaten to physically harm others. It's that simple for me. So, I think that now maybe people will better understand what I mean. Yes, the pen is certainly mightier than the sword. And, that's why right now in this country, we are seriously lacking in debate. Free speech and debate are under attack because people don't want to think about things logically. They certainly don't want to have black people getting off of the mental plantation. That's a fact. The people that I have different, groups, clans of friends. Ooh, I said clan. Whoa. I'm talking about black people. And literally, like one of my friends was, with another group, and he's like, you tell him that story you told me about the N-word. And every time, and I did this at a black barbershop, that's where I could get my hair cut, because they pay more attention to my, hair. I got Apache Indian in me, and apparently the white people can't cut my hair as good as the black people can. So that's why I go to the black barbershop. Anyway, I told this story in a black barbershop. Mesmerized. And I mean, it goes way deeper than I'm going to ever say on YouTube. But, because they were talking about who control, them people. Them people. I said, why don't you define for me who them people are? Because I could show you just as many white people who are in the same situation that you're in. And they talk about them people too. This ain't a white-black issue. This is a poor, rich people issue. This is a people in control versus people who have no control issue. Broke has an effect on people. But regardless, so do words. And of course, there were a lot of triggered snowflakes who didn't like my flat earth is full retard thing. And I fully expected that. You know what? I take a lot of joy in it personally. Because it shows how weak-minded people are. That literally, and I do mean literally, words can just affect people so severely that they will, come unglued. They will dance for you. Trolls live for this shit. That's what they do. And, anyway, so that's why we have a current flat earth problem. But, I just want to pose one, thing to the flat earthers out there, and maybe it'll be a little more fun, because shit, I find it more interesting. It's way cooler than flat earth, just 150,000 times cooler. Hollow earth. Oh my God, I could talk about this all day long. Now see, I like, that people are thinking outside of the box, but the world is round. And you could still have a hollow earth, right? I mean, come on. This is fun shit right here, right? I mean, who's with me? Seriously. So, I love hollow earth because I find it fascinating. I mean, nobody has been to the center of the planet. The only time that we've ever, the deepest we've ever dug is 8.5 miles. Did you know that Russia and America got into a war, just like the going to the moon thing, over who could dig the deepest hole? And you can't make this stuff up. Get this real quick. Oh, God. I don't even know what's about to play. That's the thing. So this is the hell found at the bottom of the deepest hole on Earth. Sounds of hell recorded by miner in Siberia. If you guys ever listen to this, so we've never been that deep, all right, into the ground, and you guys should really, check it out. Here, let me see if we could. This is the screams of hell. That's some scary shit right there. That really happened. Anyway, Julianne says, those sounds have been proven to be from a movie. I don't know. I've never really looked into it. I know the hole is real. I don't know if that's real. But regardless, I think that the Hollow Earth stuff is way cooler than, where's my other picture at? So the Hollow Earth, much cooler than, it sounds like my ex screaming at me. That's great, Wade. If you're going to get into something wacky, get into Hollow Earth. I'll at least watch those videos because it'll be a hell of a lot more interesting to me than Flat Earth. But regardless, I think a Hollow Earth is fascinating. Do I believe it's actually hollow? Could be. WikiLeaks set to reveal U.S. UFO war in Southern Ocean. This is a real thing. And, according to a report, United States went on its highest alert level June 10th, 2004, after a massive fleet of UFOs suddenly emerged from the Southern Ocean, approached Guadalajara, Mexico, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? There's actually video footage of those. UFO swarms, incredible footage. This is Mexico. The exact date is Mexico, April 11th, 2005. This has been verified on many newspapers, many major sources. The entire city saw it. Millions of people saw this swarm. I don't want to play the sound, but regardless, they look like jellyfish in the sky. So how true is this story? I don't know. But are all of these, swarms of white jellyfish looking white, UFO objects related to the war in the Southern Ocean, which is pictured here, ship base from other galaxies and spaceships coming up from under the ice at the poles, and they got little cracks and, they go through the ocean. I don't know, but damn, it's a hell of a lot more interesting than Flat Earth. So I'm just going to reiterate that, Flat Earth is still full retard, and that when I say attack ideas, not people, I mean it. I mean, you're free to say whatever you want. Just you're not allowed to threaten people with violence. And violence is the problem. So that's what I mean by that. I am totally fine with you calling me a dumb motherfucker, calling me ignorant, the worst case of cognitive dissonance, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine, that's your opinion. And your opinion means this much to me, usually. And of course, in a perception management world, I want to be effective. So if I'm going to do work on weather modification and geoengineering, I want to be effective in that work. So I will choose carefully the words I use when talking to scientists and choosing the words that I use when I'm talking to the public, because they may be totally different words for valid reasons, because based on the words that I choose, people may not consider the validity of what I have to say. The true sign of intelligence is to be able to speak to a person on their level and be understood. And if you can't explain a thing simple enough, then you don't understand it well enough. So, all I'm saying is, attack ideas, not people, means get their ass. Talk shit about a person. I called Dane a punk ass bitch. I've done that, and I don't have any regrets about it, because I see him as a problem. When I see him using pictures of an airplane test flight where they had smoke trailers attached to a plane, and he's had people point that out to him, and he knows damn well those are fake photographs, not of some chemtrail experiment, but of them test flying a plane. When I see ballast tanks being, photos, if you don't know what a ballast tank is, it's where they move water around inside a plane so they can try to tilt the plane over. Whenever the most recent one was freaking Donald Trump, and Donald Trump tours a chemtrail plane. And, I thought it was hilarious, that basically, people were going, here, look, I'll do this one real quick just for the record. So you guys can see this, that I'm not making this crap up, because it's kind of funny. All right, so just an example. This is an example of fear porn at its finest, and why I just abhor, a lot of stupid shit. Donald Trump tours chemtrail plane, promises to terminate program. And there's the chemtrails. You guys can see it yourself. Look, there's a plane. It's full of, chemtrail canisters. President Donald Trump seen touring a Boeing 767 airplane outfitted with chemtrail gear. But, where did those pictures come from? Let's find out. Here's the original tweet. At POTUS, real Donald Trump with employees celebrating the brand new Boeing Dreamliner in Charleston, South Carolina. Oh, guess what? That's my neck of the woods. Bottom corner of the photo. What do we have right there? Donald Trump, POTUS, seen with employees celebrating brand new Dreamliner. They were about to test fly the Dreamliner that's in a factory so that they can put it out and people can fly in it. So what does that look like? Take a peek inside the 747-8 test plane. There's the test plane. Built in Charleston, in my home state of South Carolina. What do they have in it? Wait for it. Wait for it. They've got computer equipment. And these water ballast tanks used to control center of gravity during test flights. And they've got pumps between them. So what they can do is they can rapidly simulate some 400-pound fat person walking from the front of the plane to the back of the plane, or people being tossed out of their seats into the aisleway. They can move weight around the plane rapidly by pumping water from container to container. They're called ballast tanks. So, that's why I take offense to half of the chemtrail bullshit I see. And Dane Wigington has many photos on his website which he knows to be false, yet he keeps them up there, which he's had many debunkers tell him that he's promoting bullshit, that he plagiarizes my material, he plagiarizes Dutch Sense's material. He has no shame about taking our names off of it and giving no credit. The list goes on. This video is not about Dane Wigington. Could I let Mike Morales know what happened to me? YouTube stealing my mod and blocking chat, message him, email him. I would certainly appreciate it. Juan, if you send me an email, jim@climateviewer.com, I will do that. But I have no way to tell him, about you this way. Okay? So send me an email, jim@climateviewer.com, and I will forward that over to Mike Morales. No problem. So, no, Jim, those are evil gas buckets. Come on, people. Live a little. So, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of photos of, different bottles and planes. And every single one of those photos, I've been able to find where they originally came from. And it's almost always, plane outfitted with flame retardant, firefighting planes, KC-1 or C-130s that were filled with oil, dispersants, bug sprayers, which is called adulticide, C-130, big tubes, that hold the insecticide sprayer to kill mosquitoes. It's called adulticide. Look it up. Anyway, So every single one of these photos, I've gone and because I've spent 7 years searching for proof that there are chemtrails, that there are secret government program of pumps and pipes, and every single pump and pipe anybody ever sent me a picture of, I've been able to find the original version, where it came from, because I own the internet. I am the internet. It is part of me. I am digitally connected to this matrix, and I know how to Google hack like a motherfucker. So if you send me something, I'm going to be able to find out where it come from. Period. And that's why I hate talking about chemtrails, because just like flat earthers, there are people who are so bamboozled that they refuse to acknowledge, even to themselves, that they've been had. Now, on a personal note, this happened to me. Is truth absolute or relative? Lenny, you son of a bitch, don't ask me that question. Do you know me and my wife had a week-long fight over the answer to that question? Because I said that truth is facts plus perception. And she said, no, facts are facts. And I'm like, things are relative. Perception management. Perception is a reality. So I'll ask you, Lenny, what do you believe? Is truth absolute or relative? What would your response be? Because flat earth has been debunked with lasers. Planet X Nibiru was the one that got me. I was fooled by it, and I promised myself that'll never happen again. Never ever gonna happen again. Lenny, I still haven't seen your answer. You son of a bitch, don't you dare drop a question like that on me and not answer. Because it is relative. Okay, thank you. So you agree with me. Truth is relative. Truth is in the eye of the beholder. Because, yes, but Jim Lee know nothing about incoming Planet X. Okay. Since we're hanging out, let's just do this thing. I'm gonna really go back in time to the time when I believed in all fear porn and I got played. And I got really pissed off about it. Alright, hold on one second. This is going to take me a second. web.archive.org/web/star/resonated.net. Bam. Alright, here we go. I don't know nothing about Nibiru. Jeez. This is going to be funny. And eye-opening for some people. Okay. So, back in the day. And I don't know why the hell this isn't coming up on my blog right now. Dude, they literally deleted that from my old blog. I'm having to go to Wayback Machine to get this thing to come up. Alright, so here we go. For some reason, I just did a search, and it's linked right here on my old blog. The Resonation. Fear porn. That's what I labeled it. And the link is R3Z8D, and for some reason, it's coming up. There's nothing there. I mean, I click it. This is somewhat embarrassing. We have deleted the freaking article that you linked to that you wrote on your old blog. But everything else is still there. Go figure. Really, really weird. And like I told you, I used to roll by the anonymous moniker Resonated. So this was resonated.net. And the article is here. I will give you a link in chat. And this is about Nibiru. So there was these guys saying that basically Elenin, Comet C2010X, was going to come between the Earth and the Sun and kill everybody on the damn planet. And I believe this shit. I mean, literally, I believe this shit. I can't believe I believe this shit, but I did. It's very unfortunate. Okay? So, I did some research into it. Reagan's alien speech to the UN. Alien invasion stuff. Nibiru, a.k.a. Marduk. Nibiru was Sumerian. Marduk, it was Babylonian. In the Bible, it was called Revelations. The Hopi Indians called it the Red Kachina. Herculebus and the Seven Races, that's Gnostic. And long-tailed heavenly climbing star from the Ojibwa tribe. All referring to the same thing. So this is the paper from, let's see if we can get it up here, if it still exists, without having to go to archive.org. Traditions connected with the pole shift model of the Pleistocene. And it goes through everything you ever heard about Nibiru. From all of the religions of the world, from, all that. So let's go to a more recent version of this, because apparently this doesn't have all of them. I revised this. It got even longer. All right. So this is from some ancient Egyptian manuscripts. Creations 3:1. It is a fact known that wise that the earth was utterly destroyed once, then reborn, the second wheel of creation. The second wheel is a new orbit. 4 times the stars have moved to new positions, and twice the sun has changed direction in his journey. Twice the destroyer has struck the earth. Earth passes through a thick part of its tail. So this is talking about Nibiru, okay? The destroyer. The destroyer of the world. It's documented and old. God caused a dragon from out of the heavens to come and encompass her. About the seas were loosened from their cradles and rose up, pouring across the land. Men were stricken with terror, went mad at the awful sight of the heavens. The breath was sucked from their bodies, and they were burnt with a strange ash. Then it passed, leaving earth enwrapped within a dark and glowering mantle, which was ruddily lit up inside. The bowels of the earth were torn open in great writhing upheavals. The earth vomited forth great gusts of foul breath, and awful mouths opening in the midst of the land. The evil breath bit at the throat before it drove men mad and killed them. And it goes on and on and on. So this is what was called the destroyer in manuscripts, this ancient Egyptian thing. You guys should check it out. Flyby animation of the destroyer through our star system. Video of this long elliptical object that comes out not on the same orbital plane as us, but from below. But here are all the names. See, I did some more research. This is a more recent version of it. In the Old Testament of the Bible, it's known as the destroyer. Link. Here, let me give you this version of it, so you guys can send this to all your Nibiru fun friends. Hell, I might repost this on ClimateViewer.com. Just so that we can, I intended on putting this in a Nibiru video in the near future, but just, things you never get around to doing. Let's do it now. Why not? I'm running my freaking mouth. It's also known as the destroyer in ancient writings of the Egyptians, which I just showed you. In the book of Revelations, it's referred to as wormwood. Sumerians and Babylonians, Nibiru or Nebiru, Marduk in Babylonian religion, Phaeton in the Greek literature, rides a chariot of fire through our solar system, came too close to Earth and burned it. Nemesis in Greek mythology, spirit of retribution against the godless. Abaddon in Hebrew, an intensive form of the word destruction, appears as a place of destruction in the Hebrew Bible. Apollyon, a Babylonian mythology, an angel of the bottomless pit, the devil. Apollo in Greek mythology. G 1.9 in a working title by NASA. Eris, another name given to NASA newly discovered 10th planet. Planet X by various astronomers and authors. Nemesis, a theory. NASA theory, also an Isaac Asimov book. Taish, the planet of the crossing. If you haven't heard this one, pretty interesting. That Nibiru was also known as Gnostic, where is it? Hercules and the Seven Races, the planet of the crossing. A pictograph sign for the 12th planet, the planet of the crossing, was a cross. And it crossed our solar system. And whenever this other solar system that had 7 planets around it, which apparently had the shape of a cross, it would burn our planet up. And depending on how close or how far away from our planet it was when it passed by, determined the severity of the damage. So the flood and Noah's flood, there is physical proof of that. We've got seashells at the top of the Appalachian Mountains. Well done by. You're like that son of a bitch Democrat that asked the Department of Homeland Security lady a question, and then when given an answer would just walk, while she was giving her answer, literally just walked out of the room. I don't even want to hear what you got to say, which proves to me debate is dead in this world. But regardless, these are all the different ones. My favorite story by far is Longtail Heavenly Climbing Star. It's called that. Nibiru is called that by the Ojibwa tribe. This dude, he's like one of the shamans. He told everybody, I think his name is Pamantu or something like that. He's like, Pamantu say, get in the mud or ye shall perish. And only like 2 people followed him. And moments later, they got up from the mud and all of the trees were burned away as far as the eye can see. All of the men were burnt to a crisp. And Pamantu looks at the other 2 people and he's like, see? When Pamantu say get in the mud, you get in the mud. But basically, these are ancient stories of an astrological event where somebody, by body, I mean celestial body, came too close to the planet and it disrupted our, oceans, ripped them from their basins, burned away, the ground and stuff like that. Interesting fact. If you really read into it, apparently Nibiru smashed into Tiamat, which coincides with God in the Bible saying, I will never ever destroy the planet again with floods. And if you look at what they said, was that basically Nibiru smashed into Tiamat and was destroyed. And that created our asteroid belt. The largest piece of the asteroid belt is called Vesta. One of the largest pieces. And NASA's New Dawn expedition was to go land on Vesta. Little known fact. So I've done a lot of research on the whole Nibiru thing. I got played like a motherfucker because there was this guy named Menshir Omer Bashish who said that, we were all going to die when Elenin, this comet, came between Earth and the sun, and then it didn't happen. And I said to myself, how the fuck did I get played this hard? And then I figured out it was slave speak. That I didn't understand the difference between high-level descriptors and low-level descriptors. A person speaking to you in high-level descriptors are using words that are highly argumentative, have different meanings to different people, or have unique meanings because they were made up by the individual. That gives a person power over you. It's like Rev Michelle Hopkins calling them Tesla Tech-Arrays, TTAs. Well, once she calls them TTAs, and she's the only person on the planet that, calls them TTAs, if you want to learn about a TTA, you got to go to her. That's slave speak. That is maintaining the master-slave relationship. Dutch sense, we've made up sense, but when he was originally talking about Nexrads, he called them harp rings. And I said, it's not a harp ring, it's a Nexrad. There's only one harp in the world, and you really need to, stop calling them that because your terminology's bad and you're making shit up. So anyway, I'm not going to get any deeper into slave speak or any of that. I just want to tell everybody, I love you, mean it. I do want you to attack ideas, not people. And my wife is apparently unable to unlock the back door. So you guys have a wonderful night. Attack ideas, not people, before my wife attacks.